There's an attack for 1. There's a block. This. That's a Maka. That's a Devour Flush. It's pretty good. These are the exchanges that you don't want to have happen.
And this was the misstep there by Jacob that may allow Hoey to get back in this game. Either trade there or allow Hoey to animate his Mutavault before using your Maka.
Yep.
That was the worst case scenario.
Now Hoey's left with a Pack Rat and a way to actually try to win this game. And again, it does not take long for Pack Rat to get the job done.
Although I guess on the flip side, it's not bad for Jacob to get the Devour Flush specifically out of Matthew's hand, because Hoey Devour Flushing himself could be a line of play that comes up in this game.
It could be a disaster.
But the operations are still better served just passing there. If Hoey wants to trade, let him trade, and otherwise. Because it's not like your Legion Loyalist is worth a lot in that spot. Hoey still has a Mutavault back to block it, even if you kill the Pack Rat.
Oh, he's going to play Desecration Demon now. He's going to turn up the heat. Jacob going to draw a card. And all he can do is pass the turn back. He could be stuck with Stoke the Flames in hand. So he draws a card with the Desecration Demon trigger on the stack. You can see Matt kind of moving a little bit quicker now.
Needs to figure out a way to win this game as soon as possible.
Yep, that's all that matters at this point. He's got to be terrified of Lightning Strike the entire time or running lands to cast Stoke the Flames. There's an attack. It's 7 points of damage. Here's another Desecration Demon. It's getting ugly now for Russi. It's actually a lethal attack next turn. That's a Foundation Denizen off the top, and that's a concession. So Matthew Hoey barely hangs on there. He's going to win game number 1 over Jacob Russi. Part of the reason is because Desecration Demon is so big.
It's one of the best tools that decks like this have against mono red.
Yeah.
You want to try to win the game as quickly as possible, not let them float along, and try to draw removal spells to each one of their threats. And the Demon's a big part of that.
Sideboard time. We will start with Rabble Red, 2 Boros Reckoner, 2 Skullcrack, 2 Museum Mortars, 3 Eidolon of the Great Revel, a Dynacharge, a Harness by Force, a Mutavault, and 3 copies of Magma Spray. Very reminiscent of what the boss played last weekend.
I think you're going to see the 3 Eidolons come in here, just more creatures, and Matt almost by definition has to take 2 because he needs to play a removal spell on it. I think the additional Mutavault will come in here. I'm not a fan of Harness by Force in this matchup, but I think a lot of red players do bring it in, and it would not surprise me if Jacob did that as well. Same thing is true of Skullcrack. I don't like the card in the matchup very much, but Jacob may bring it in. I would in fact rather have Museum Mortars, I believe, than bring any copies of Skullcrack.
What do we see on the other side there for Hoey?
2 Sin Collectors, Interworld Connections, and Erebos, God of the Dead. 2 Drowned Sorrow, a Deicide, 2 Duress, 2 Lifebane Zombie, 4 Doomblade. The thing that stands out most of all, of course, the 2 copies of Drowned Sorrow and the 4 copies of Doomblade. If he wants to go any further than that, bringing cards like Sin Collector, I would be surprised, but the 2 Sweepers and the 4 Doomblades are going to be excellent here.
4 copies of Doomblade is a lot.
4's a lot.
Not messing around at all.
But I like that kind of sideboarding. I think people get too fancy with their post-board configuration sometimes, and they want to play, in quote, higher impact cards. But often the best cards in your matchup are your most efficient cards. Even though Doomblade looks like a game 1 card, it's fine to have 4 copies of that in your sideboard. You're going to bring them in all day long, and they're going to be very good when you bring them in.
Well, these players will finish shuffling up here, and as they do, we will talk about Star City Games Game Night, which is now underway as it is September.
Up and running. It's ready to go. And we have it in September right now. You see, this is the packet for September. Can't order this now. Had to get on board in August to have this kit. We're already seeing some photographs of this stuff coming up. The program's already up and running. This is the September kit. As we mentioned, every month will feature a new kit. So if you want to get on board for October, get signed up right now, starcgames.com/game night. More information. Every Wednesday night, casual focus, organized play. Can be run as sanctioned or unsanctioned in any format the store wants to. It's a worldwide program as well. So whatever part of the world you're in, just get a hold of us at starcgames.com/game night. Talk to our organized play reps and we get these kits over to you.
Any format.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, sanctioned, unsanctioned. Just make
Do
sure it's
whatever
on
you want.
Just make sure it's on Wednesday. Make sure you have fun.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And it has finally begun.
And even the second thing's really optional. Like if you don't have fun, that's not the end of the world from our perspective. Just run it on Wednesdays.
Yeah, or else.
Or else.
Yeah, there you go.
Then there'll be real trouble.
Yeah, that'll bring you in the building. Yeah, have fun, don't have fun, whatever.
Totally up to the store and the players.
Yeah.
You want to have fun, that's cool. You want to have not fun?
That's cool too.
I'm not going to judge you.
Yep, just make sure it's on Wednesday or you're in trouble.
Or we'll find you.
Yeah. Game 2 going to be underway here in just a minute between Black White Mid-Range and Rabble Red. Russi did almost win that first game. Got him down to 3.
Had a good opening, good-ish opening.
For Mulligan.
And for a mulligan, and he also drew a Maka and a Titan Strength that he only could use as Lava Spikes.
Yeah.
So not only did he mulligan, he had some really inefficient cards for the matchup and was nearly able to get it. A lot of that was because Hoey was missing land drops, but still, a surprisingly close game given the circumstances on Russi's side.
Big tournament here for Hoey, too. We've talked about the players who are in the top 16. Hoogland is number 16 on our Season 4 leaderboard, and how it's a big weekend for Jeff. It's a big one for Hoey as well. He's number 19 on our leaderboard, with the potential to make up a lot of ground this weekend.
Yes. This is another player a little outside looking in right now, but does not take much to get caught up.
No, not at all. I had a feeling we'd see him here this weekend. He was able to steal that game, and it did feel like stealing. Barely got the job done, but again, Desecration even is so large. He was able to close the game very, very quickly and cut the draw steps from the Rabble Red deck.
It's tough for it to be too lopsided against Rabble Red because you're on the back foot to start the game. They have any sort of draw. So the games that Black White Mid-Range wins or Mono Black Devotion wins the matchup, generally speaking, are going to be a sweat. It's going to be challenging, but Hoey was able to get it done in kind of convincing fashion. Yes, he had to sweat Lightning Strike, but that was really the only card he had to worry about there once you got past turn 5 or so.
Yeah, Stoke got turned off.
Yeah.
Let's see what Russi can put together here for game number 2. Again, Hoey does have quite a few hate cards there. A couple copies of Drown in Sorrow, and then a bunch of Doom Blades.
And it's very hard for these builds of Rabble Red to defeat Drown in Sorrow. When I was playing Red Aggressiveless, I had Hammer Perforos in the sideboard. That, in my opinion, is the best tool for Red to fight Drown in Sorrow. It's a threat on its own. The tokens you're making don't get swept away by Drown in Sorrow. Because Rabble Red already has so much haste in the deck, and it's a little bit mana light, it's hard to justify Hammer Perforos, but that does mean that a card like Drown in Sorrow is really good against this deck. There's no secondary game plan. It just happens when it happens.
Yeah. Hoey going to send it back relatively quickly here, so he'll be down to 6 cards. And Season 4 opened up last weekend at the Season 3 Invitational. We all know that Tom the Boss Ross went back-to-back, Chris Van Meter winning our Standard Open, and Dan Musser winning Legacy Open to kick off Season 4.
A pretty high-profile set of winners that weekend.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Usually, when we have an Invitational, someone who wins an Open, not really a player we've heard of because there's so many people who come out for them, but that weekend we saw 3 notable players, people who we already know ahead of time, take down the 3 tournaments.
Foundry Street Denizen is where Russi will begin. This is a mountain. This is a Burning Tree Emissary, Trigger the Denizen. The follow-up is Firefish Striker. This is a fantastic start. An attack for 3.
Yeah, these are the kind of openings that both put a ton of pressure on decks like Black, but also cannot be Drown in Sorrow.
There's a Pack Rat to get in the way. You know that thing can't even block this turn.
Now, these are the kind of draws that easily get through a Pack Rat.
Yeah. Firefish Striker looking pretty good. Let's see what this is going to be. Yep, there's Nash Cell. Trigger the Denizen. Jeez. Trigger the Denizen again. This is a beating.
So,
yeah. So, Drown in Sorrow or...
Busto?
Yep, pretty much. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My God.
Okay, well, pretty good opening. And that'll do it.
Yeah, okay. Well, game number 2 is done. Jacob Russi destroyed Hoey's face is great. Well, fine.
Okay, well.
Play Pack Rat and you win.
Yep.
That's fine.
Didn't get to attack or block or activate it.
That's right.
Pretty good start.
This game is over. Matt Hoey will be on the play for game number 3. Well then.
Hard to overstate how good Burning Tree Emissary is against these kind of decks that are trying to get to powerful, expensive threats and use removal to get there.
Yep. Very low to the ground. Russi might consider his options here for game number 3. Hoey's going to look through his deck, maybe re-sideboard here, but we will talk about very quickly the Constant Arcure pre-release playmat that we will have available at the Star City Games Center for the Constant Arcure pre-release.
Yeah, you have to actually go to Star City Games, the physical building itself in Roanoke, Virginia. People who participate in events this weekend will get this playmat Only 600 are being produced. The leftovers from the pre-release will go on the website the following Monday. So there is an opportunity to purchase these, assuming that attendance works out in your favor. I would not count on it. If you're really interested in getting this playmat, and who wouldn't? I mean, look at that squad. You want to go to Star City Games for your pre-release.
Again, we will have these available for purchase, assuming that we do have some left over after the pre-release. They'll be $24.99, and they'll, again, be available on the website. You can find out more information about the pre-release at starcitygames.com/pre-release. Certainly pre-register today if you'll be heading to Roanoke. But if you can't make it out, again, we're going to be printing 600 of these. Any left over, available on the website.
Yep. So at what point do we fully transition over to no longer running Magic tournaments or selling Magic singles and simply make things like this? It's only got to be a matter of time.
Sure,
right?
just no more open series.
Yeah,
just nothing. Just, hey, we got a new mat with a penguin on it.
Right.
And that's it.
I feel like maybe not soon, but probably sooner than we think.
2016, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we'll shut down the open series. 40 tournaments a year, no more of that.
You and I will simply be used to generate ads for new playmats.
That's it, yeah. We have a new turtle playmat. Gentlemen, we need your voices.
And in fact, I'll probably get cut out at that point because often my promotional run is just so the equivalent of this is a product that exists.
Yeah. If you
so
want,
it'll just be you running the broadcast at that point, I guess.
If you want it, cool. If not, that's
cool too.
Yeah.
You can go buy something else, whatever. Just go on living your life. But this is a thing that exists, so.
No, the feedback on that playmat has been very overly positive.
Yeah, that one is
just
good.
a really sweet playmat.
That one's particularly good.
People really want that thing. Myself actually included too. So I might get in the chase for one of those.
You gonna pull some strings?
I don't like to call in the favors very much. I do know a guy who knows a guy who owns the company.
Calling in a favor for a limited run playmat where we're kind of running a promotion centered around it is bad form.
Well, absolutely.
That's some pretty bad form.
But I know what I want. So.
Right.
Look, I just want one. Well, we only have 3 left. Okay, I want one.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pay for it. I just want one. Hoey going to draw up his 7. He's looking to play more than 2 turns this game. I feel like that's asking a lot. But we'll see.
2.5 because he got to untap and draw.
Ah, right. He just
didn't bother entering his main phase.
He decided no more. Hoey giving it a long look. We don't have a great look at it. We know there's a land or 2 over there.
Might be missing white mana.
Yeah. Sand Collector's a card that's really good against Russi's deck. The fact that it can block and nab a Stoke the Flames, Titan Strength, or a Lightning Strike, it's actually really scary from Hoey's side.
The thing is, if I'm Jacob, I'm trying to cut as many spells as possible.
Sure.
I hate having spells in my deck against Thoughtseize control decks because you just have to weather the storm removal, and it's too easy to get stuck in a spot where they Thoughtseize away your one creature, use a removal spell on your other creature, your hands lands and spells, and you can't win the game. So, Sin Collector definitely has moments of being spectacular, but as a rule, I try to sideboard in such a way that naturally limits the impact of that card to begin with.
It's a mulligan for both players, so they'll go to 6. We'll see what they're able to put together here. And, for Hoey, it's just, it's Removal City.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's pretty straightforward.
Any of his creatures are good enough to win the game. Honestly, even Nightveil Spectre unchecked, that's good enough to win. So He doesn't have to worry about finding the right threat. Just lands and enough early answers.
Just be able to interact early and often. That's it. We'll see if he can do it. Some people wondering about our predictions on what the other 4 charms do. That's tough. I'm not great at that. I know they'll all be sweet. That's my prediction. The 3-color charms especially are always sweet. The 2-color charms are, the Gruul charms and stuff like that. They were all pretty cool, but the 3-color charms are always awesome.
Yeah. Do you remember the original ones? Like Dromar's charm?
Yeah. Those 3-color charms, I remember those. Dromar's charm, I think, was the best one.
Yes.
Because it could counter a spell?
It was like kill a thing or counter a thing?
Yeah.
Back when Magic was only killing things and countering things?
Yeah. No. Here's a Thoughtseize. Got the Raffle Master Legion Loyalist to Stoke the Flames, along with a Mutavault and a Mountain.
And this is what I'm talking about, the Sin Collector and the spell thing. The Stoke the Flames is the card that stands out in this hand as being the weakest portion of it. Now, it does answer a Blood Baron, which could be nice, but it's the type of card that magnifies the problem with this hand in the event that Hoey just has a lot of removal spells. Takes the Rabble Master, kills your creature, and then you have a Legion Loyalist and Mutavault you got to try to win the game with. It's very hard.
Hoey already down to 18. Going to be going to 16 in just a moment. You saw him after the thoughts. He's played that Godless Shrine.
I think Jacob must have drawn something of substance if he's thinking about this turn.
Yeah, that sure seems that way.
So we know he has a Mutavault and a Legion Loyalist.
Yeah.
So something must have come off the top of the deck to change this.
He's giving us a lot of thought. Maybe a card like Ash Zealot.
Yep. Although I think if it's Ash Zealot, it's pretty straightforward just to cast it.
You can just cast it, right?
Yeah. When you have Stoke in your hand, you just want to be as maximum mana efficient with your creatures as possible. So the turn that you do Stoke, it's the least cost of the attacks you want to make.
Yeah, there's a Mountain. Burning Emissary. He's going to pump. He's not even going to play the Loyalist. You like that?
Well, if he's worried about Drown in Sorrow, I suppose.
He attacks. He's going to get. If he plays the Legion Loyalist, he gets 3 damage across either way. That's a nice.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Drown in Sorrow. All right.
Well,
This works out.
I guess.
This works out. I mean, it works out as best it can against the Drown in Sorrow.
Yeah.
I will say that. There's the Mutavault. Here's the Legion Loyalist. That's an attack for 1. Oh, he's at 14. Draws a copy of Mutavault. He just passes the turn back. Russi will draw. There's a Mountain. That's an Ash Zealot. This is an activation of Mutavault. I like attacking with everyone here. I don't know about you.
I don't like attacking with the Legion Loyalist because Hoey just gets to animate his Mutavault.
That's cool. I'm actually fine with that. Because like my alternative is like just attacking with Ash Zealot.
But you could also attack with the Mutavault. I don't mind that.
You're just fine trading your Mutavault for a Mutavault?
I think that's okay.
Okay.
I think it's really rough to throw away a creature for not very much when you have Stoke the Flames in your hand.
Okay. This looks like it's going to be a Doomblade here. Yeah, things get ugly now.
And it's one of those spots where, maybe Hoey blocks with the Mutavault, maybe he doesn't. If you just send in the 2/2/2s, who knows? It depends what's in his hand. But you're letting him off the hook in a big way there. Because even if it's close whether or not he wants to block a 2/2 or just let all the damage come through, it's not close whether or not it's better for him to just eat your Legion Loyalist or trade off with one of your 2/2s.
Sure.
I mean, if Hoey's on the ropes, if this sets it up where the Stoke the Flames is lethal, that's one thing, but he's at 12 right now.
He's going to play the Blood Baron, which is going to draw out the Stoke now.
Yeah.
Can't let that thing live. We know that. Gets a free creature out of the deal. That'll get unleashed. I imagine we'll see a Convoke Stoke. Yep. That's the last card.
And if he had his Legion Loyalist, this was a spot where he would have been able to get in for 1 point of damage.
Sure. You do make a compelling argument, sir. Here's the beatdowns. Mutavault will go active. Feels like Hoey's trying to reel him in. Yeah.
You just pass.
Yeah, you just let it go. You don't need to make a move until Hoey does. Got to show some patience. If you have a card like Shock in your hand to kill the Mutavault, that's fine.
Yeah, for sure. A removal spell, I don't mind using on the Mutavault whatsoever here, but trying to fight inside of combat,
there's just too much that can go wrong. Yeah, there's the block.
Okay, so that was all before blockers were declared.
Okay, and even if he has a Maka here, I still just pass. I'm still just not doing anything.
The way the game is shaping up, this could be the type of game where you'd rather cast a Maka.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hoey draws and plays a Mutavault. He still has a Bile Blight in his hand. Here comes Santa Claus. See if Hoey wants to trade Mutavaults or cast his Bile Blight.
The Bile Bite's a really nice safety valve to have in case Rebel Master comes off, but this Mutavault does hold off every 1 power creature. So now Jacob's draws of Legion Loyalists and Foundry Street Denizens matter.
There's a Loyalist. Hoey draws another land. Temple of Silence will help fix some things, though, as he will scry. That stays on top. Can't feel great about that if you're Russi.
There's a lot of cards that Matt leaves on top at this point, including just a Doomblade type effect. Too, so.
That's true.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's Blood Baron, but it's not good news for Jacob.
Attack for 1's going to put Hoey down to 9. Hoey knows what he's drawing. It's a Mutavault. That works. It's better than a random draw. See if this 2 mana nets. An Eidolon. That's not so bad.
It's going to be something. It's going to trade with the Mutavault or
the Bile Blight.
Yeah, it's worth something.
Hoey will draw the card first. It's a Swamp. He'll kick it back. Over to Russi, who will draw. I think he picked up a Mutavault for the turn. Not 100% positive.
I think it might have been a Rabble Master.
Yeah, that's not bad either. Yes, sir. Who will draw better? We're going to find out right now. Now, Russi will have to take 2 from that.
Yep.
As the Eidolon is in play, and that effect is symmetrical. And that's not optional. So he'll go down to 17. Now the pressure's on Hoey because he's got 1 Bile Blight to use.
Yeah. And his resources are quite taxed at this point.
Do I want to Bile Blight the Rabble Master or do I want to Bile Blight the Eidolon?
Defensive Mutavaults are a huge dimension of play for black lists in this kind of matchup, though. Because the game's gone for so long, you have so many removal spells that you can strand people with 1 power creatures and leave Mutavaults back to block.
Rabble Master's going to bite the dust. Hoey has to pay 2 to do so. Due to the Eidolon, he's down to 7. Russi's considering attacking now. If you're in Jacob's spot, your opponent has 1 card in hand. Are you attacking with the Eidolon?
I would have, yes.
Trade with the Mutavault?
Yeah, because otherwise you got to, it's just tough to free up this Legion Loyalist otherwise.
Here's 2 mana. There's another Eidolon. He'll take 2.
If you have a second Eidolon, I guess he's trying to set up some sort of soft lock here where...
That's what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
Or he basically says, I'm not attacking. If you play a spell that costs 3 or less like this Nightfell Spectre you just drew, you're down to 3, and that might be your only spell you get to cast for the rest of the game.
Yeah. I didn't like holding back last turn, but now that Jacob's drawn the second one, this is excellent for him.
Now, to be fair, that doesn't mean it's the only spell he gets to cast for the rest of the game, because Desecration Demon is still alive, Blood Baron is still alive.
Yeah, no, he still has plenty of cards. Elspeth, if that's still in his deck, that's a live draw here.
But his plan, I think more important than anything, it makes sense. Like it's been the same, right? He didn't change what he was doing. He's valuing Eidolon so highly, he won't attack with it.
Yeah.
And Hoey says, all right, I'm going to 3, unless you miss these triggers somehow. All right, down to 3. Hoey will pass.
And now any big draw from Jacob might just get this done.
Yep. This is something. He's reaching for his mana very quickly.
He doesn't have to play around a removal spell in this spot either, because Hoey's locked from playing anything unless he has some weird 4-mana removal spell in his hand.
Ash Zealot comes down. And an extension of the hand. Jacob Russi is going to win this match over Matthew Hoey. 2-1. Rabble Red is able to dispatch Black-White mid-range.
I think Matthew did a great job game 3 of getting himself into a spot where he had a big draw, but he just didn't find it in time. Drew a lot of swamps. Most of his lands there, the temples and the Mutavaults are all very good draws, but Jacob drew a lot better than Matthew over those couple critical turns.